How's it going, everyone? Thanks for joining the session. I don't know, I'm not looking at who's here right now, but my name is Kevin Kopis. I'm the COO and co-founder of ShortDot, and we are a domain registry. We own a couple different domain extensions, and we're going to get into what all that means in just a second, but let here introduce himself.
Hey guys, hi, I'm Ishan. I've been working with ShortDot for nearly 2 years now, and I was previously with Radix. So we've been in the domain industry for quite some time now. So yeah, let's get into the shape of the internet.
Has it been 2 years now? Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, so we're a domain registry, and we're here just to like let everyone know sort of what the shape of the internet looks like. So here we go. Get ready. So after you type in www.something.whatever, what happens next? That's sort of what we're looking at here. We just wanted to also thank CloudTalk for letting us present and give some information and go through this whole fun experience. So what types of domain names are there? And this is, I also wanted to preface this. This is going to be a little bit basic, but also a little technical. So we're trying to like play both sides of the coin here. We want to give some information, but then also there's going to be a Q&A after this. If anyone has any questions, feel free to, absolutely ask us after this. It's going to be fun. So types of domain names. Basically, there's two main types of domain names. There's the generic top level domains, and I don't like to say TLDs because a lot of people don't know what TLD means, but domain extensions is what that looks like. So there's legacy extensions, new extensions, and these are all generic extensions, and there's also country code extensions. So with the legacy extensions, we're talking about the older extensions, .com, .net, .org, a little bit different than country code extensions, but the legacy extensions that you would be aware of. And then there's new extensions, which our company owns, which is ICU, Bond, or two of ours. But then there's also about 1,000 others. There's .shop, .website, there's .ring. I'm looking at my desk. There's .mouse. There's everything. Like there's anything you can imagine. And basically, where that came from was back in 2012. And we'll get into like where ICANN comes in here. But back in 2012, 2013, ICANN opened a application process where you could pay $185,000 to apply for your own domain extension. And there were about 1,900 applications, and there were about 1,000 unique strings that came out of that. So out of all that, there's a lot of legal stuff that happened. There was a lot of trademark. There was a lot of community issues and things like that. But basically, there's about 1,000 domain extensions outside of .com and .net and like legacy extensions. So currently we own 5 of those, but there's a ton out there that I think are really cool. And yeah, the other side of that is country code extensions. And the difference here is ICANN controls all generic domains or generic domain extensions, whereas ICANN doesn't really control country code extensions. So .tr, .in, .us, .co, I think it's all two-letter whatevers are country code extensions. Sometimes there are restrictions where you have to live in that country or you have to prove something to do. Like every registry can set their own restrictions on how you get to register those domains. However, those are all country code extensions. And then there's also second level domain extensions, which are like .com, .tr, .edu, .tr. And I'm using .tr obviously because CloudTalk is based in Turkey, but every country can create their own second level domains as well. Ishan?
Yep. So another thing about CCTLDs and new domain extensions is the way Google favors them for SEO. So by default, Google will favor CCTLDs like .uk, .in, .tr as a local domain for people searching in those countries. So Google uses CCTLDs as an indication to sort of geo-target the website. So if I'm searching for Honda car parts, it'll obviously throw me to hondacarparts.in or US or UK, whichever country I am in, as opposed to another country's website or .com. And with new domain extensions, Google actually, while Google says that they don't favor any particular domain extension, with new domain extensions, brands and businesses have the opportunity to register contextual names. So that really gives them an edge when it comes to voice search or when someone types in the address into Google, or even for backlinks. So something like gold.bond would probably rank a little higher and faster as opposed to gold-stockbonds.com. if it was linked to an anchor text as a backlink. So those are the little indirect advantages that new domain extensions and CCTLDs sort of have over a traditional legacy domain extension. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And one cool thing, and this can come up in the Q&A later on, but one cool thing also is that, Ishan, I know you've written a lot of blogs about the voice search thing,
Yep.
and I think it's really interesting of using new domain extensions, no matter what it is, for a topical advertisement avenue. Like you've talked about that in a couple of blogs for our registrar clients. So I think that's really cool.
Yep.
Another really interesting thing I just wanted to point out there too was with .co. I think .co is a really interesting example of a country code extension that is technically a country code extension. And if you're in Colombia, you're going to find a .co quicker. That being said, because of the advertising and the marketing that .co did with registrars, Google now recognizes that as more of a generic domain extension, even though it technically is a country code. They're seeing it as a generic domain because it's everywhere. It's so prevalent. It's being used, and it's everyone. So I think that's from the SEO perspective, I think that's an also interesting. Cool. Next slide here. Life cycle of a domain. This was a weird one. This is we recreated this from an ICANN page, and again, we'll have all these slides available. But also, I just think it's cool for everyone to actually look at a domain and see how it works and what's going on there. So on the left side, you see where a domain's available for registration. You can go search for it. Maybe it's a premium name, which we'll get into in a little bit. Maybe it's not, whatever. If it's available for registration, this is what it looks like. All these date codes, 0 to 45 days, 30 days, these are all set by the registry, so it kind of could change a little bit, but for the most part, this is what the life cycle of a domain looks like. So you have a 5-day ad grace period. So when anyone registers a domain name, they have 5 days to technically return it. There is a 10% threshold where someone can't return a domain name if the registrar that they registered it at is at a 10% threshold with that registry. So that's getting a little bit technical on the terms there. But if domains, if the registry if the registrar has had too many returns, then you can't do that. But that's basically what that 5-day ad grace period gives you. You can register a domain name for up to 10 years. And that is across every extension, country code, and generic extensions. One funny thing that we came into, and I always like giving out funny terms, is if you have a domain registered for 10 years, you can't transfer it. We've had to actually delete a couple of years off of some registry-owned domains that we've sold because we've registered them for 10 years, and then you can't transfer them, which I always think is really an interesting little fun. I've had some ICANN friends actually that are like, "Oh, I didn't realize that." And I'm like, "Yeah, I didn't realize that either." But
quirks of the internet.
Yeah, exactly. It's shape of the internet. That's why we're talking about. So registration, 10 year, up to 10 years, and obviously renewals and all that stuff come into that. So if you keep renewing the domain, you're going to stop before this expired bar here. We should have made that like red or something bad.
Yeah.
I don't know why red is bad, but anyway. After it expires, you go into a grace period, auto renew grace period. I believe with our extensions, and again, every registry can set their own terms here. I believe with our extensions, it's 30 days. Don't quote me on that, but so for 30 days, you can renew the domain for free. You're only paying the renewal fee. After that, you go into a redemption period, which with our extensions, it's $80 to renew it plus the renewal fee. I don't know. I should have looked up like .com. I don't know like .com. I don't know what other extensions are, but everyone can set their own renewal, the redemption fee. But you're paying like a huge, basically it's like a penalty that you're to get the domain back. And then the pending delete phase, no one can get it back. It's coming out. This kind of goes into the drop catch where domain investors are investing in domains. Once it hits like the pending delete, people are looking at the drop lists to see what domains they might want to invest in, what's coming out. Like once it hits pending delete, it's gonna be out there. And then obviously released, it's back out, available for registration. So the drop catch is domain investors are looking at that and they're saying, hey, what's coming out? What do I want to invest in? Is it someone else, like, did someone else build up an awesome like backlink site and I need to register this, or can I make money on this, or is it just like a really short domain that I think is awesome? There's a lot of that stuff going on. Pre-drop alternatives, I think, is pretty interesting. A lot of registrars do this, and I'll bring up GoDaddy just because I know a lot about their process. But when a domain is coming up for expiry on GoDaddy, they will start to auction it and put it out there to only GoDaddy clients, or GoDaddy customers. So if they can sell it to someone else that is a GoDaddy customer, it actually never hits the delete stage. Like, they renew it on behalf of the new registrant, and that's a huge channel. Their expiry channel is amazing, but that's a huge like thing for resellers, for registrars, a huge way to make money. Domain tasting, again, we recreated this from an ICANN slide. Domain tasting doesn't happen that much anymore, but basically domain tasting is that 5-day period where traditionally or historically, I guess, people would register a domain name, see if there was getting any traffic, see what was going on. And if it was getting a lot of traffic, they would keep the domain name. If it wasn't getting any traffic, then they would return it and then go register something else. That's changed a lot just because of that 10% threshold and everything. But that's basically the life cycle of a domain name. Kind of fun.
Nice.
What happens when you type in a domain name? This is, I think a lot of people here are probably resellers and relatively technical, or registrars and relatively technical. So we didn't want to go super deep into this, but just like to show what happens. When you are on the left side here, you type a domain into your browser. It's going to hit your local ISP's DNS server, and then it's going to go to one of the ICANN root servers. There are 13 ICANN root servers around the world. And basically what that root server does is it says, hey, what extension is this domain looking, or what extension is the domain? And then it goes to the registry root server, the registry DNS lookup. So we use CentralNIC, and I think CentralNIC actually has a session later on today about reselling and things like that. And it's a little bit different than what we're talking about here. But CentralNIC is our backend provider. So basically, when you type in your domain, it's going to go to that root server is going to go to one of CentralNIC's backend servers. And it's going to say, hey, I'm looking up, for example, eshan.icu. So it's going to go look up that, or cloudtalk.icu. It's going to go look that up. And then CentralNIC server, or the registry, like our backend server, says, hey, here's the name servers for that actual domain. And then the name servers point to the host. And then the host is actually where the files are kept for that domain. So again, I think this is a little bit basic for a lot of people, but I just wanted to throw this in there just so someone could see. I always think it's really interesting that there are literally 13 ICANN root servers that control the internet. I mean, it's a little bit a weird side of the internet. So anyway, next, where do you fit? Ishan, where do you fit?
Well,
where are we?
I think we're at a bunch of places here, except for ICANN.
We're at a bunch of places. So again, I love this conference. I like talking to resellers. I like talking to registrars. I like to explain a little bit about this. ICANN is the top of the pyramid. And again, I know this is a really weird conversation to have a lot. But ICANN being the top of the pyramid, they create all the rules. Country code extensions are a little bit out of this, but still as a registry, most people are bound by a lot of ICANN rules. We are the registry, we're the wholesaler for our extensions. Our extensions are ICU, CU, Bond, CFD, and SPS. Sorry, I'm looking at the stuff in front of me here. We work with registrars. So there are probably some registrars in the room listening to this. There are probably quite a few resellers, and there's probably quite a few registrants as well. And there's a lot of R words here. So I'm not trying to be super confusing. All that being said, basically as a registry, we are the wholesaler. We control the extension. I always equate this really closely to the car industry or the automotive industry. And I'm in the United States, so I use like Chevy or Ford in Detroit. We are Chevy or Ford in Detroit. And if you want to go buy a car, you don't go to Detroit to buy your car or truck, you go to a local dealership. And I'm pretty sure that's going to be the same in every country with, I know it's the same in every country with, whatever car company you're working for. Ishan just bought a Honda. Ishan didn't go to Japan to buy his Honda. He went to somewhere in India to buy his Honda, and then, they got it from Japan. It was parts, blah, blah, blah. So we assemble the domain. Registrars are accredited by ICANN. They pay ICANN fees and all that stuff. Resellers, it's kind of cool to be a reseller because then you're not actually like paying ICANN fees. You're still paying some registrar fees. But it's a little bit different. You're able to, not necessarily, you don't have to be as big as a registrar. There's a lot of things there, but basically the point here is that we work with registrars, and we can also work with resellers as well from a marketing perspective. So that was kind of, Ishan's going to talk about marketing in a minute, but just to kind of show everyone where everything is there. Anything else there?
I think we're good. No, I think we're good.
I'm looking at my notes a little bit. Okay, marketing domain extensions.
Yep. So yeah, marketing a domain extension basically happens in three parts, the three phases rather. There's a pre-launch phase, there's a launch phase, and then there's a post-launch phase. The pre-launch phase is the most crucial phase because it sets the tone of all our activities and campaigns in the future. Basically everything that we're going to do with resellers, registrars, and even for ourselves. So what we normally do is we start with the targeting and positioning of the domain extension. So we determine who the right candidate is, the right audience is for this particular domain extension, and then accordingly pivot all our marketing and branding efforts to serve that particular audience. Also, in under the pre-launch phase comes the logo design, the font selection, the marketing message. So we try and design a logo that captures the essence of the domain extension and who it caters to. And for the color palettes and for the font selection, it also depends on the positioning. And we also craft a dedicated hashtag which doubles up as a marketing message to sort of emphasize the targeting and positioning that we're going after. So for instance, we just launched CFD and SBS, like Kevin was mentioning, and CFD is primarily a finance related term, but we sort of gave it a new twist, and we now positioning it for the clothing and fashion design industry. So we went with like a black and gold theme to keep it simple, but at the same time very attractive and aspirational, sort of to match luxury fashion brands. So that really helps people connect to the domain extension in that sense. With SBS, we're going after social welfare groups, philanthropic initiatives, non-profit organizations. So we wanted to sort of get in the spirit of community and development and sort of use colors that would reflect the same. So we went for green and blue with a very simple font. So that's basically what we do in the pre-launch phase. Apart from that, we also try and communicate actively about the targeting and positioning. So we try and reach out to as many registrars, resellers, trademark holders, trademark lawyers to sort of get the word out and to get the momentum going.
I just want to interrupt you there real quick.
Sure.
I think it's really cool, the targeting and positioning, just so everyone knows, like this literally, when you own an extension, I love that, like when you own an extension, we can do whatever we want to with it, or we can do whatever, we create the market, or we're creating the marketing message. Literally, we were sitting in a room, on a Zoom room, and with the financial stuff, Ishan is the one that came up with the fashion message of CFD. And we were like, once he said clothing and fashion design, we were all like, oh my God, that's amazing. So I just think it's really cool, like how when you own an extension, that's one of the things I love about being a registry. Like we do have full control over the extension. And literally it's like, when you said that, I remember like the light bulb went off for all of us. We're just like, oh my God, that's perfect. Like that's how we are going to do this. And it's a beautiful logo. It's a beautiful message. And it's totally different than what anyone else realizes. But I think you have some of the domains, but there's a couple people that have registered CFD domains in the fashion industry that have not registered any of our other extensions. But because it's fashion, they got that message.
Yeah, so it really worked out because, like I was mentioning, we went active, like we actively communicated the targeting and positioning, and that sort of helped us. So we got Beyonce.cfd, Taylor Swift.cfd, Valentino. So we got a couple of big fashion brands and celebrities to sort of adopt CFD. So that was very interesting. So,
it's really fun. Isn't it fun to see all the domains every day that get registered? You're just like, oh my God, let's hit refresh.
Yeah, that was really fun. The next phase is the launch phase, which is the most exciting phase. I think Kevin would say it's the most stressful phase, but it is very exciting as well. So the launch happens in two parts. There's a sunrise launch and there's a general availability launch. The sunrise launch, we focus on trademark holders, trademark lawyers, corporate registrars, and corporate resellers. During general availability, the goal is to reach as many people as possible in terms of registrars, resellers, and end users. So in this phase, we try and create all the various marketing collaterals that like banner images, social media posts, videos. We partner up with resellers and registrars to create co-branded content so that they can promote the domain extensions from their side as well. We also focus in on influencer marketing and video marketing and try and help them, registrars and resellers, sort of do the marketing on our behalf and for their driving registration for themselves. Basically, the noise during the launch phase is to create as much noise as possible. That's what we try and do. And we also try and focus in on content marketing to sort of build SEO value for that particular domain extension. So we create blog posts for all our registrars, resellers to have them posted on their website. We post the same on our website. And that's sort of the general route that we take. Apart from this, a public release, a press release also really works. It helps us get that noise and, puts our name on high-end websites that will help us drive more backlinks and also help to make that noise on their social media. So that really helps. The next phase is the post-launch phase. This is actually the most relevant for all our domain extensions because the launch and pre-launch only lasts for so long. The post-launch is where we have to stay consistent. So a consistency is definitely key here. Once the domain extension is out in the wild, we try and keep up the momentum in different ways so that the domain extension stays top of mind for end users and for registrars. So again, social media helps us to build our community of followers, loyalists. We actively use all our platforms, all social media platforms, to sort of celebrate milestones, share our offers, festive celebrations, or anything that's relevant to the industry or in general. We sort of keep the momentum going there. With influencer marketing definitely helps, and not just in the domain industry, but everywhere. It's really been a very effective sort of marketing strategy. So to give you an example, we've been using influencer marketing to sort of drive more attention to our newly launched extensions like CFT and SPS. And in fact, we are also doing co-branded influencer marketing for registrars and resellers. Micro-influencers are another important part of the influencer marketing strategy that most businesses and brands, I feel, really should try and use to their advantage, because micro-influencers are equally hungry to grow. And for new businesses, it really helps because they are equally interested in sharing the message that you want to share with their audience. So that really helps. In addition to all of this, we also try and focus on content marketing as a consistent marketing channel to sort of grow the brand year on year, phase on phase. So we regularly publish sort of blog posts on our website, on registrar websites, and we try not to keep it salesy. We try and add value to the reader and for entrepreneurs and for business owners, marketers. And that really helps draw in, sort of tie in the message of what our new domain extension is trying to achieve while also trying to solve a problem for them. So that really works. But all in all, when it comes to marketing a domain extension, especially for us, our whole goal is to sort of make sure that it's easy for the reseller and registrar to market our domain extension. And we try and give them as much information as possible with as many marketing collaterals as possible. And just to make it easier for them to sort of get a move on and to get the landing pages ready, to get the marketing from their side ready. Because at the end of the day, we all want to drive registrations. We all want to build a brand. So we just want to help them with that. So yeah.
And I think I also want to highlight there, the influencer marketing has worked out really well. We've had so many people there. What's the show that a lot of influencers have been coming to us from? What's that?
The platform?
The runway.
Project Runway, yeah. Project Runway.
We've had so many winners and I don't know if that's an international show, or my ex-wife used to see that or watch that all the time. So there's been a ton of winners for Project Runway that we're reaching out to, that once they see, like for example, with CFD, it like clicks with them, and it's so cool to see. Even an influencer, once they see like, oh my God, this is a fashion design domain extension, they're like, oh my, this is perfect. So for any extension, like when you're marketing things, the influencer marketing has been working so well. I think it's really cool. I love it when you see it click with someone. Yeah, like that's the exciting part there for me, I guess.
Yeah, it's really helped us. It's helped us grow both the brands for CFD, SPS. Yeah.
Exactly.
We have 5 minutes remaining.
Thank you. And we're almost on our last slide, so this is working out perfect.
Yep.
So then we came up with a couple questions that we just wanted to like throw out there, just to like, this can be for Q&A later on, but we're just going to talk about a couple things. As a registry, these are some things. I've been pretty active in a new platform called Clubhouse, which is just a voice app where people are talking from around the world. I'm pretty sure it's available everywhere these days. I don't know if I'm pretty sure it's available everywhere these days. But that being said, so I just want to throw out some stuff that I think kind of create confusion, just to clear some things up. So how do premium names work? This is something I think premium names are always, every registry can do them differently, but basically the registry has full control over what list of names they choose, how they price them, how they renew them, all those things. So with our extensions, at least, most of our .bond doesn't have any premium names, but with our other extensions, anything that is a common first name or a common family name or a bigger country or a bigger city or a bigger industry or a trade or anything that's popular, we put all those in the premium list. Pretty much, it depends on every extension that we have, and obviously for other extensions as well. And then also how they're priced. We have a couple different tiers with ICU, for example. Oh man, I have that on the other thing. With ICU, we have a couple different tiers. I think the wholesale price for ICU is usually $5. So if you're a registrant, you're probably going to pay. Well, we do promos too, but it's going to be a little bit more than $5. And our first premium tier for ICU is $12. So premium names are always a little bit out there, but in every registry on how that works. But it's up to the registry, and we try to be really simple. Short dot is not only, we're trying to be short of the dot, but we're also trying to be really simple with our policies and whatnot. How does the registry work with resellers? Ishan was talking about this a little bit with marketing. As a reseller, you have to go through your registrar. So you have to be an accredited registrar to sell directly from us. However, from a marketing perspective, we love working with resellers. I think that's something that a lot of people don't realize, is that as a registry, we can definitely work with a reseller on influencer posts or blog posts or design stuff. This is what Ishan does on a daily basis, and he's right. I don't know how many blog posts you write a day, but it's crazy. It's fun, but I think that's one of the messages we kind of wanted to send here was like, if you're a reseller and you're not working directly with a registry for marketing stuff, like that's something you guys definitely should play around with and see what you can do, because I think that's a huge opportunity. What about trademark holders? Again, we talked about this a little bit pre-launch. During launch, there is a sunrise period. As a new domain registry, there's absolutely a period for trademark holders to register their trademark names. We're actually getting ready to launch something called Short Block, which is a new product of ours that's going to let people block a mark across all of our extensions. So the new extensions are not at all about making money off of trademark holders or blocking trademark holders from securing their marks or anything like that. We're definitely working with people from the legal side of that. I think that's pretty much that. Can I have my own domain extension? This is one of the biggest questions everyone always asks me. If I go on a first date with someone, if I'm doing anything, everyone's always like, hey, how do you own a domain extension? With Short Dot, we have acquired a lot of our extensions from people that applied during that initial ICANN period. So you can absolutely go buy an extension from someone who already owns one. There's probably going to be another ICANN period where application period at some point in the future. No one really knows when that's going to happen. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of policy stuff going on there. So yes, you can. You got to go either buy one that's already in existence. You got to wait for the new ICANN period, but that's what that is. And then the domain aftermarket's the last thing. We sell a lot of domains on Cedo, on Afternic, as the registry. I think as a reseller, I think it's important for you to see what opportunities there are there where you can integrate something like Cedo into your existing search and sell some more domains. And I think I was trying to, sorry, I went through that a little bit quick, but I think that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. We're going to go to the Q&A session here in a few seconds, but I think that's it.
Yep. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.